What is going on, guys? EASYHEIMER here. I'm with the Jasion
YR20.
This is their commuter e-bike style moped. Has a 48 volt 20 amp hour battery, producing 1,000 watts of power to the rear brushless hub system. This bike does come with suspension components, has a front fork with adjustable dampering, as well as 2 rear shocks for comfortability over bumps and other terrain. Has a nice 60 centimeter extended seat that could easily fit 2 people. And as well as a larger seat, it also does come with foot pegs, so the person on the back can ride with safety and not have their feet dangling. It has some nice beefy 20 by 4 inch puncture resistant tires, accompanied hydraulic brakes in the front as well as the back. This is the handlebar point of view. On the left hand, you have your front brakes, as well as a light switch, a horn, a left and right signal indicators. In order to turn the bike on, you just press the power button, the light pops up. On the screen on the top, you have a battery gauge, your mile per hour, your levels of assistance, and your odometer. So going back to the toggle switches, you have your level of assistance. You can go higher, with the highest level being 5. And you can also do other things like check your power output, your odometer, how many miles you've done on the trip, and your time. On the right side of the handlebars, you have a half twist throttle, as well as a 7-speed shifter and the rear brakes. This bike weighs 87 pounds and has a maximum payload of 330 pounds. All right, let's do the uphill test with the Jasion
YR20.
We're gonna do level 5 assistance halfway up, just pedal to get a speed, and then we're gonna pedal up the rest of the hill, then go down, and then do a top speed test going downhill. Uphill, we got 16 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. That's with no pedaling. Uphill with pedaling, we got around 19.5 miles an hour. Now we're gonna go downhill and see how fast we can go downhill. Downhill, we got around 36 miles an hour. It's pretty fast. All right, so let's do a little road test and kind of talk about some things I've noticed while riding this bike. I think the seat is very comfortable. I am 6 feet tall. The only thing I have noticed is that I need to sit a little bit farther back on the actual handlebars and the seat just to get a comfortable riding position, because if you sit super close up, you're kind of like right in the handlebars, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm just a taller guy with longer legs. So I sit a little bit farther back. Not a bad thing at all. This bike is meant to have 2 people because it has the pegs on the back to have another rider if you need that, with a 330 pound payload capacity. The bike does feel very smooth with these tires. They are 20 by 4 inch puncture resistant tires that grip the road really nice, but also they don't feel super abrasive on the road. They're very smooth. The pedals do take a little bit for them to kind of connect with the actual level of assistance, so you do need a couple of rotations in order to get the assistance to get going. With the throttle, with the right hand throttle, it's pretty accurate with like when you tell it to give it some power. The display is nice and bright, shows you how fast you're going. The gear shifting is very accurate. It's definitely, whenever you need to change gears, it is very quick and responsive. The rear suspension does hold up the roads and the bumps very well. Yeah, so this is probably the bumpiest part around my little area. And the front shock absorbers as well as the rear shocks. Handle everything very well. It's a very comfortable ride. The brakes work really well. They aren't sticky, they aren't slow. They stop you for exactly for when you need to get stopped. And the acceleration on this bike is actually really well too. If you're in level 5 assistance, you get up to about 25 miles an hour pretty quickly. Like I said, the only thing I did notice as well is when you're riding, your back foot can kind of hit the passenger pegs a little bit. So I like to ride a little bit further back so I don't get my back ankle caught in it. Also, this bike does have a lot of its components lower in the frame of the bike, so it's easy to kind of swing the weight of the bike, and it does a really good job with balancing itself out. It's not top heavy at all, so you can take corners without really leaning too much. And overall, like I said, the acceleration it does really well. The brakes work really well. And I've ridden this bike for probably about 25 miles. Some of it on the level of assistance 5 and some of it just riding, and I have a little bit more than half battery left, so the battery does really well in holding its battery. Obviously, if you're doing things that require more uphill and you don't feel like pedaling as much, the bike does drain more battery, but I've noticed that it goes down a lot, and then once the bike is back in kind of like a normal functioning mode, it kind of recharges itself, or it tells you have more battery than it thinks it does.
Well, I think this bike does everything it should do for a commuter bike. With the price point being $1,000, this thing has everything from speed, comfortability, good handling features, allowing you to do pretty much whatever you need to do for a commuter bike. But I would love to know what you guys think about this. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. EASYHEIMER out.